All right. Well, let's start off on the floor. Start off on your back, giving your knees a hug. So we're just rolling around here, starting to get things moving. Your low back. Did anybody respond to your post about teammate?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to jump in or not. All the other coaches are, so trying to decide if I'm going to or not. We'll see.
You should.
Actually, I should, so I see how all the text messages come out and stuff. So, all right. So from here, rocking back and forth this way, we're gonna take it as far as you can without like using your elbow as a kickstand. You're gonna take it as far as you can over to one side, squeeze, get strong through your core, and bring it back to the middle. So we'll go as far as you can without tipping over. So you can use your shoulder to push into the ground here, get your belly strong, but try to keep your elbow off the ground. All right, let's give knees a hug so that your knees or thighs touch your belly. Then we'll take a deep breath, try to breathe so that your belly pushes into your thighs. And exhale. So you might get a stretch in your low back here. We're just trying to get things moving. Especially in the morning, all your discs are full of fluid. So especially in the morning here, we want to start to squish things around pretty gently. Because morning is when you're most at risk for a back injury, because your discs are so full of fluid and have like, you know, if you get up and start bending and all of that, they've got all that hydraulic fluid or hydraulic pressure in there. Okay, good. So from here, we're gonna just start rolling knees around. So we're rolling your knees around in a circle, kind of working your low back on the ground. So this is a little bit different than rocking, just because we're moving your pelvis around, your hips around on the ground. Relax your head. And we'll go the other way. And go ahead and grab your knees. We're going to rock up to that seated position. And we rock back down. So we're just rocking up and down here. So at the top, you're going to try to balance it on your butt. So try to keep your heels off the ground. So just your hips. Rock back. When you're ready, you can let go of your knees. And good. Last thing on your back here, we're just gonna lift your hips up, and then we're gonna go opposite shoulder on the ground. So my right shoulder is pushing down and my left heel. So we're working in opposites here. Then we're gonna switch. So one of the movements in the circuit is gonna be the shoulder crawl. So essentially that's this. So right shoulder blade, left foot, and then switch to left shoulder blade, right foot. So this is kind of like an anti-rotation. Anytime you're pressing on opposite sides, you get that work through your core. It's just usually we do it on the front, but this is kind of like an upside down plank. So just rolling side to side, and you can start to do it a little bit faster. And then when it becomes the crawl in the circuit, you'll just be reaching up with your shoulder blade and moving. All right, let's roll it over. You're gonna come up onto your elbows and go to look forward. So we're just kind of letting your hips settle in. So we want a nice even curve through your back. You shouldn't feel one particular joint that feels kinked. We want we want a few degrees of extension at each joint, at each spinal segment. So it should feel like a nice even curve with no pain or pinch or anything like that. So really push your elbows down to the floor. That'll lift your chest up. You should be able to look forward. This is the anti-slumping movement. So we want to be able to at least get into extension with your spine. From here, we're going to look over your shoulder. So if you're looking over your left shoulder, you're going to look for your right heel. And we're going to do the same thing, switching. When you look over your right shoulder, you're looking for your left heel. Your shoulders can turn here. Just always make sure you're looking over your shoulder, not around your shoulder. And good. Let's push back onto all fours. Elbows and knees. So instead of hands and knees, you're going to go elbows and knees. And then we're just going to sit back as far as you can. You're looking to get your heels on your butt. We're going to keep your thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Your arms will straighten out. Taking those nice deep breaths. And good. All right. So moving into 90-90 position with your hips. The one's going to turn in. One hip's going to turn in with 90 degrees at your knee. The other hip's going to turn out. The goal here is to sit with two cheeks on the ground. I'm not even close. Probably never will be. So from here, you're just going to keep your legs right where they are. We'll take your elbows to the ground. Try to get nice even pressure in both elbows. Your knee should be right up underneath your chest. So we're looking for a big stretch in the back of your hip here, back by your hip pocket. And from here, we're going to get tall, and then let's turn and look. So you're just going to look over your shoulder. Make sure we're breathing. All right, let's go switch sides. So you can leave your feet on the floor here. Just flip your knees over like windshield wipers. Then you're in 90-90 on the other side. Again, looking to settle in here, trying to get both cheeks to the floor. And let's take your chest over your knee. Try to get both elbows to the ground. If you can, put even pressure into both of them. And let's turn. So you're just turning to look behind you. You're going to look away from your back foot, the foot that's behind you. And relax. Good. All right. Push-up position. Let me show you one of the movements for today. We're going to do the same circuit format, 3 times, 3 exercises, a minute each. So these, we get a kind of a nice, quick, almost mobility circuit here on a Thursday. So you're going to be in this push-up position. Your foot's going to come up outside, so almost like you're going to do the Spider-Man stretch. But from here, you're going to use your fingertips and your back foot, and we push up to standing. All right, then to go back down, you're going to take this big lunge step going back, hands go back to the ground, and then we'll switch sides. All right, so you'll get a little bit of a stretch here. Then you're going to use your fingertips and your back foot, pushing up to standing. And that's called the Spiderman Get Up. And so that's going to be the first one we do. The second minute, you're going to just roll over. So we'll just roll over onto your back. We'll do a shoulder crawl. So remember, with the shoulder crawl, it's your shoulder blades are going to be like your feet, or like the feet of the movement. So you're going to lift your hips up. As you roll to one side, the other side is going to be reaching up like almost like a shoulder shrug. Really reach, and then we switch. So you're just reaching and pulling with your shoulder blades. So that's the inverse crawl. If you run out of room, you can try, or sorry, that's the shoulder crawl. If you run out of room, you can come back the other way. That's a little bit harder to lead with your feet, but it's a good skill to have. Last one, pivot turn on a beam. So I know you probably don't have a beam at home, but what we can practice is just walking along the beam, and then with feet in line. So I'm gonna do it this way. With feet in line, you're just gonna come up onto the balls of your feet. You're gonna turn and try to go back down with feet in line. All right, so if you have like a piece of lumber or something lying around, that would be good to use. But otherwise, you can just use sort of a pretend line and make sure we're turning both directions. So you're gonna just let your feet move into the ground, and then you can do a lot by imagining there's a balance beam there. So even if you don't have a piece of lumber or something like that around, if you do, grab it. If not, no big deal. We can just keep a really narrow stance on the floor, okay? So we'll go ahead and get started. Let me set the timer here. Okay. So we got 9 minutes to work, 3 exercises, 1 minute each, or 1 minute rounds times 3. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get moving here. We're going to start off with the shoulder crawl. Start off with the shoulder crawl. So lying on your back, getting ready to move with those shoulder blades. All right. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So as you're pulling with one shoulder blade, you're going to be pushing with the other foot. So if my right shoulder blade is pulling down, I'm going to be pushing with my left foot. So it's really, everything's in opposition here. Halfway there. You can think of this too as a good spine mobility drill, because as you reach, you're going to turn kind of side to side. So we do lots of rotation, but we don't do a lot of like lateral flexion or side flexion with your spine. 10 seconds left. And good, let's roll over. We're just going for the Spiderman Get Up. So you're going to start off in that push-up position. Bring your foot up next to you, and then we stand from there. Then you take it right back down to the ground. We'll switch at the bottom. You can start all the way on your belly. Come up, bring your foot up, and stand. Always just reversing the motion. We'll switch at the bottom. Over halfway there, we've got 25 seconds left. 5 seconds. And here we go. Pivot turn. So we're just going to have a really narrow base. Try to get as tall as you can. And then staying tall, keeping your eyes forward. We'll do that pivot. Jesus, all kinds of bugs in here. Halfway there. So this is obviously kind of a break in the physical work, but you can get a lot out of it, even just imagining you're on a beam. So this is more mental than physical. We want to try to make sure we're balanced, dialed in. And good. Back to the beginning. Okay, right back up to the shoulder crawl. I know for me, this always feels like a really nice mobility drill. Feel pretty loosey-goosey after this, which is nice because the older I get, the more bound up I feel up in my upper back. So this is a good way to loosen that up. Ten seconds. And roll it over for the get up. Halfway there. So to kind of get the most out of this, when you come up, really bring your foot up far next to your hand. You can even get that little stretch there for a moment. And then we're standing up. 10 seconds left till we balance. And good. Here we go. We're standing. Walking that balance beam. Coming up on your toes, just pivot on the balls of your feet. Make sure as you turn, you're staying tall. Shouldn't be staring down at your feet. Twenty seconds. So pick an object that you're going to look at each time you turn. So take a look at the same wall every time you turn, or the same piece of furniture or whatever. All right, 3 seconds, 2, 1. Last round here, shoulder crawl. Using your shoulder blades like feet. Taking steps, pushing down into the floor nice and strong. Once you run out of room, you can either turn around or you can reverse the motion where you're sort of pulling with your heels and pushing with your shoulder blades. Halfway there. Five seconds. And rolling over for the get up. Here we go. Halfway there. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and we walk. So just balancing, staying tall, keeping it centered. Thirty seconds left. Ten seconds. 5, 2, 1, and that's a wrap. Okay, so just moving around this morning. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thank you.
Gives me a good excuse to move and not have to work too overly hard.
Yeah, it's good. The shoulder crawl is great.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think it's underrated. I think we should probably do it more outside this class. But okay, have an awesome day. We'll see you. And if you don't have a teammate or a couple teammates by noon, I'll join you.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, see you, Steve.